everybody, we're live. It's the HooperCast movie hour on a Wednesday night in December, and it is not as cold this week as it was last week, but my God, it was cold last week, wasn't it, Dustin?
Yes, but it's still too cold for my blood.
Yes, absolutely. Hi, it is I, Connor. It is he, Dustin. It is we, the HooperCast. Welcome to the show. Thank you for listening. Please don't go away. We're on Facebook.com/HooperCast. If you're watching it live, then that's cool. If you're not, then you should do that next time. Twitter, Connor_Dempsey, at Dustin Weldon, YouTube, iTunes, and maybe someday HooperCast.com if I get some Christmas money and a little bit of Squarespace.
Yeah.
And there's a phone number too, 251-333-8732. If you want to leave us a voicemail, I will vet it. I will not play anything that is either inappropriate and or not funny.
Right.
It's funny, you might get a pass.
Okay.
Brush up on them jokes.
Fair enough.
All right. We got a lot to get to on the movie hour, so let's just dive right into it. We're going to talk about movies, and we normally talk about stuff we've seen, whether it be new or old. We have 6 movies we're going to try and squeeze in tonight. And
crazy.
And
it's never been done.
Most of them are new releases. So we usually touch on a little bit of film news first. So I just want to bring up the weekend box office real quick, Dustin, because we always do that.
Let's do it.
Over the weekend, December 14th through 16th, we had Spider-Man Into the SpiderVerse debuting at number 1 for Sony, $35 million.
Yep.
So $90 million budget, well on its way, and getting some great reviews, including possibly ours later in the show.
Oh, nice tease.
Oh, I know, man. I've been trying.
Okay, cool.
Number 2 is The Mule for Warner Brothers. A good bit behind, distant second, $17 million. Yep. This is the Clint Eastwood film where he is a geriatric drug runner.
It's fine.
I feel like I didn't have to specify geriatric.
That's fine.
Clint Eastwood.
We all know. Yeah,
we do. Bringing up the rear at number 3, down from number 2 last week, is Dr. Seuss's The Grinch for Universal with $11 million. Hanging in there, 6th week in the box office. It is a total gross of $239 million domestically, and worldwide, this thing has $377 million. So very good holiday season for Universal.
Yeah.
Our friend Mortal Engines debuted at number 5, made less than $8 million, and that has a $100 million budget. Maybe it's not such a good weekend for them. Maybe I spoke too soon. That's also Universal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
And you know what doesn't surprise me either? Once Upon a Deadpool debuting at number 11.
Yeah. Ooh,
with
ouch.
$2.6 million. It doesn't list a budget. I don't think there was much of one. It's probably like $100,000.
Right. Yeah.
So it's all profit there. But I was not into the cheap re-release of the film, and it looks like not a lot of people were either.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's the box office. I completely forgot to look up what was coming out this weekend, Dustin, because that's relevant to the next week's box office. Do you know off the top of your head?
Yes. So next weekend, or rather this coming Friday the 21st, we've got Aquaman. We've got Bumblebee. We've got Second Act, Welcome to Marwen, Cold War, Moscow Never Sleeps, Swingkin, Zero. And then we have a couple movies expanding that were limited release last week, The Favorite and Mary, Queen of Scots. But I don't expect either of those to make a big splash.
And Mary Poppins Returns.
And Mary Poppins Returns does. I think that came out today.
It did. Yes, it did.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
That's weird. Okay.
Yep. Wednesday release.
What's the significance of today with Mary Poppins?
It's a Wednesday.
Okay. I will go with that.
It's a full few extra days to make money for your weekend.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Why the hell not? There are no more rules.
Right.
I'm particularly interested in going to see Bumblebee. I think I will be taking my daughter to that because she loves Transformers. So that will be a fun experience. And I'm probably going to seek out the most packed Peter. Wow.
Packed Peter. Peter Piper picked a pack of Peters.
The most packed theater I can find to get her among people who are excited to see the film.
Yeah.
And maybe a few people who scream at the screen as if they can hear them.
Right.
Look out, Bumblebee.
No.
All right, let's get out of this and get into the couple items of film news. I'm not going to go through these very in depth. We are traffic copping the hell out of the show tonight.
Yeah, we are.
The first thing I just wanted to mention, Dustin, did you see that first look at the Guy Ritchie genie?
I did.
At the live action Aladdin.
I did. I'm not digging it.
No, I'm not either. If you want to go look at those, the article I have pulled up is on Entertainment Weekly. I think I have. That's where.
I think they debuted the image.
Yeah,
but I'm not even like just not digging him. I'm not digging any of it.
No,
like Aladdin, Jasmine, none of it makes.
No, it doesn't look good. I don't like his hat. Like it all looks wrong. It looks like they all stepped off like the Broadway stage.
Yeah,
it's all like way too accurate to the like accurate enough to the animation to where you thought like, oh wow, like you didn't really pick that much subtlety.
Yeah, Aladdin's wearing a shirt though.
He is wearing a shirt.
He needs to just be wearing his vest, no shirt.
Although
because he's a street rat, he can't afford a shirt.
Yeah, but he can afford a Bowflex because he's got the abs.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if you want to look at these, go to entertainmentweekly.com, obviously, or buy the magazine, I guess, if you want to do that. Do you still sell the magazine?
I guess. Do people still buy magazines?
We get sent a ton that we are on a mailing list for, like a company neither of us work for anymore. Continues to send us Southern Homes and Gardens, like 6 home magazines. They
don't know that Pinterest exists?
I guess not. Or they don't want anyone to know. They're shutting down people who inform others of Pinterest.
Right.
Don't you tell them we need this. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's just the costumes. I didn't watch the teaser. I was turned off the idea after seeing the pictures, but if you want to look at that. Yeah. And there's this other story on this particular, you can read about this anywhere if you Google it, but I picked ironically CBS.com, but CBS is where this is all happening.
Yeah.
There was an article about a week ago or so about the actress Eliza Dushku.
Something like that. Close.
But you would know her from a lot of things, but namely Dollhouse, Angel, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Bring It On, I guess, if you didn't catch any of those shows.
Right.
And I'm aware of many more things she does, but I'm not going to recite them because I'm not a creeper or a stalker. But you know who is a creeper, allegedly, is, what's his face, if I can find it in the article. Whatever, the guy who stars on Bull. Is it Michael Weatherly?
Yeah, I think so.
Probably in the lead line. Michael Weatherly, yeah. Anyways, the short story of all this is Eliza Dushku was doing a bit role on Bull, and it was supposed to turn into like a season regular thing, and then Weatherly and a bunch of other people on the set kept making like crass jokes and stuff like that, sexually harassing her, and she complained about it eventually to HR, and basically she was fired for, reporting sexual harassment. And they settled with her finally for $9.5 million, which is why we didn't hear about it till this year. But there was an independent counsel investigating CBS because of Les Moonves and all of his weird sex stuff. And they happened upon it. And so now everyone knows about it. So, anyway, if you want to read this article on cbsnews.com or anywhere, but the article is about her firing back. I did not overreact, she said, because I think Weatherly's trying to smear her. CBS is not handling this particularly well. And if you read what she has to say, it was pretty much an institutional effort to get her to be quiet about it. They even tried to use an Instagram photo of her in a bathing suit as leverage against her, as like, well, see, I don't know why you're bothered by sexual harassment. Look at you. Yeah. She was like, oh, okay. So,
because that's fair.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Anyway, so go read that. If you're outraged by that, go read the article. You'll be incensed. And
right. Sure.
Yeah. So I don't predict a bright future for Bull or Michael Weatherly.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the movies. Let's dive right down in.
Let's do it.
Hey, Facebook Live. How you doing? All right. So why don't we start with Isle of Dogs, Dustin?
Okay, let's do it.
When did you see this? Because I saw this months ago, but we just never got to it.
Yeah, it's been months. Been months.
Okay, so you saw it months ago. Okay, cool. Did you see this in your workplace, in the theater?
Yeah, well, I saw it during the festival. We showed it in the festival.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think you and I actually saw it like only a few days apart.
Oh, wow.
And then we always intended on having it on the show and just never had the space for it.
Right. Yeah.
So we figure we'll just kind of jam everything here in at the end.
Yeah. Well, this film is directed by Wes Anderson. It's has a voice cast of many an actor and voice you would recognize, namely Bryan Cranston,
Edward
Norton, Bill Murray, of course,
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. Yeah, a lot of people I got to pull up the cast list, but
ScarJo.
That's right, she is in this.
Yeah.
But this was from earlier this year. And what did you think of Isle of Dogs, Dustin?
I thought it was okay.
Yeah.
Which is about where I stand with a lot of Wes Anderson's movies.
Yep.
It's not that I dislike them. They definitely have their style, and you have to give the guy credit because he's sort of defined his look. And it's in a way it's like Tim Burton-esque, right? It's like you have such a distinguishing style that's consistent among all of your films that you just kind of get known by your compositions. You get known by your color palettes, and that's such a weird thing for a director. Very rare. So I got to give him credit, but his stuff always ends up in the middle of the road for me.
Yeah, it seems to always be. He's one of the. It's kind of like we were talking about with the Coen brothers last week, like or whatever that was. Now I can't remember. Yeah. My God,
I think it was last week.
They have these traits and these strengths. Trying to figure out how I want to word this. Wes Anderson is impeccable at cinematography that you want to look at.
Yeah.
He seems to be obsessed with symmetry.
Yeah.
And he's really good at in the same way as the Coens, having his characters just saying odd things.
Yeah. And
them at least either, being profound or important or at least seeming profound and important.
Yeah.
Where I come down on it is, I was sort of bored during Isle of Dogs.
Yeah, me too.
There's a whole lot of like narrative meadows and a whole lot of like, self-reflection stuff. And that's fine. It's obviously films should have that, but I was mostly just like, okay, come on. Like what's next? Like where are they going? Like I was thinking there's not enough focus on the plot here, I guess.
Right.
About it at the time anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like I was bored through a lot of the middle of it. The beginning started fairly strong. Like I get a good sense of the characters, get a good sense of the plot pretty early on. And then, somewhere in the middle, it just kind of felt like it lost focus and it became about a lot of things, but really nothing at the same time. It kind of found its way back a little bit towards the end. The weird thing is when we were in the climax of the film, it didn't read as a climax to me. And I don't remember exactly why that was. I just remember thinking like, whoa, is this the end? And like, it was very like, sudden in a weird way. I don't know. It was one of those things, Wes Anderson's characters tend to all kind of talk similarly. So for me, I got a good sense of who the characters were, but then like about halfway through, I started getting bored. And I think it was because the characters all seem like, even though I knew, okay, this one has this goal, this one has this goal, these are the traits associated with this character, they all kind of felt the same. So when they're talking to each other, it just kind of felt like one person talking to the same person. And the
characters had that Aaron Sorkin problem where they all have like the same cadence, the same vocal nuance and everything.
Yep, exactly. And so it just becomes kind of tedious at that point. And even, like I said, even though they do a fairly good job in the production of saying like, we're going to visually show you the different characters, right? Like this character, like Bryan Cranston's character Chief looks visibly different from all the other characters. And so, having, it's good character design and good character work up front. It's just the dialogue that fails it.
Right.
So I ended up getting bored.
Yeah. It's one of those. I mean, would you recommend it to people? Because I would. It's so hard. Wes Anderson's one of those people for me who's so hard to recommend.
I don't know that I'd recommend it. I think I would recommend it only if you're a Wes Anderson fan, or if you have an interest in like stop motion or something like that. It's great to see that still happening on occasion. But as far as just a casual movie fan, I'd say skip it.
Yeah, I agree. It's
not going to make you mad, but it's kind of not worth your time.
It's well made, but it's not. Yeah. It's not a crowd pleaser. Unless you love dogs, and then it's like obviously then you're predisposed to
right
dogs.
Exactly.
Okay, well there's Isle of Dogs. That's speedrun number 1. I wish I had like a little ding, like a bell.
Ding. Yeah,
but I don't. So
let me see if I have. Crap, I'm not gonna be able to get to it fast enough.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Oh, well.
Let's move on to the next movie. This is a film that I saw. Finally, this is from earlier this year in 2018. It is Sorry to Bother You, which I think came out in when was this? It had to have been like March or something. It's a pretty small movie. Written and directed by Boots Riley, who I believe is a musician, or is it hip hop artist? He's something. He has a different crown. I'm not aware of his filmography or anything, but I am aware of its star, Lakeith Stanfield, who has been in a lot of things that I like in the past few years. He's one of the starring roles in Atlanta on FX. He was in Get Out. And I like Lakeith Stanfield, and he's the star of this movie. He plays Cassius Green. This movie also features Tessa Thompson, Terry Crews, a little bit of Steven Yeun and Danny Glover, as well as Armie Hammer, and some interesting people as merely voice roles in here, because the whole conceit of this is that Cassius is, he's like anyone. He's just trying to make it out there. Takes place in Oakland, and he's trying to become successful. And so right now he's taking this telemarketer gig, and Danny Glover teaches him how to maintain people's attention on the phone by using his white voice. And so instead of talking like Lakeith Stanfield, he finally learns how to talk instead like his white voice is David Cross. And then we never learned this character's name, but his boss, once he becomes a power caller upstairs with the other white voiced people, that person's voiced by Patton Oswalt. So it's actually really funny to hear those two voices in here. So I was sort of intrigued by Sorry to Bother You because I kept hearing like, oh, it's nuts. It's crazy. Like, wait for it, And so I'm watching it for like the first however long, like probably an hour. And I was like, okay, I'm bored. Again, I was just bored. Boots Riley has a lot of like flares in here. Like he definitely has a style. It's just one of those where after a while I was like, okay, this isn't actually advancing anything. Can you keep this moving? I have a problem with the pacing of this and Isle of Dogs. It's just, I don't know, a bit, even though the film seems fast paced, I don't know, like
there's just no forward momentum.
It doesn't feel like there is, or it's all implied, or it's all like not quirky or like woo quirky, but just like, oh, I wonder what that was about, sort of thing. So I guess it keeps you in that way. But you're following it, but in the plot itself, at least until the twist, is pretty generic. Like it's a guy who starts at the bottom, he becomes good at what he's doing, and at the wrong time. In this case, he becomes successful and gets moved up as a power caller in the middle of while he and his friends are basically holding a strike for workers' benefits. And they promote him in the middle of that. So of course now his friends hate him, and he's like, yeah, well, my uncle is about to lose his house, so I'm going to do the job. Yeah. And then he discovers upstairs that they're doing pretty bad things and selling pretty bad things. I want to tell you what the twist is, but essentially, because this is out of theaters,
I already know the twist. So if you're holding off for me, don't. But if you want to hold off for the audience,
you know the twist. So when the twist actually happens, when you see whatever, you hear someone talking and then you see what that person is. Yeah. At that point, I was like, oh, but seems it's still like it. I don't know. Like it definitely made me more interested because then I was like, oh, what's up with that? I think the film becomes the third act is pretty interesting because as soon as like Armie Hammer enters the movie, like halfway through the movie, he elevates it. Like it was lacking some sort of antagonist. It didn't have like an opposing force. It just had Lakeith Stanfield discovering things. Yeah. But there was no like big bad force except capitalism. Yeah. So if you're itching for an anti-capitalism movie and you don't want to watch like Speed Racer or something that's a little bit more visually exciting, you could watch Sorry to Bother You. Sure. You'll just enjoy people being on strike. For me, I was just waiting for something exciting to happen, and it finally does, sort of. But it's still ultimately like I wouldn't recommend people see this, to be honest. Yeah. You didn't see this, right? You just know the plot. No, I did. I didn't see it, but I do know what. Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Well, I mean, would I recommend it or not? No, I would not. And that's what I keep hearing. Like everyone that I hear talk about it says, yeah, you can kind of sit it out. Like it goes crazy, and maybe there's a certain audience for that. But it's a very specific audience. Right. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's Sorry to Bother You. Okay. Let's move on to our first new release. Actually, all four of these remaining are new releases in their own right. Yes. So we're doing okay on time. So let's talk about Mowgli. Okay. On Netflix. Let's do it. Mowgli. A brief history of this project is essentially, do you remember a couple of years ago when there was that live action Jungle Book remake directed by Jon Favreau, and Bill Murray again is Baloo. I think Bagheera was voiced by Ben Kingsley. Yeah. Scarlett Johansson was Kaa. And Christopher Walken was King Louie. King Louie, yeah. A supersized King Louie. Yeah. Idris Elba was Shere Khan. That's right. Who was Aquila was Giancarlo Esposito. Yes. And then I think Lupita Nyong'o was his mother. Yes, I think she was somebody. Yeah. Okay. So at the time, I remember going like, okay, we knew of this. This was another tale of those in Hollywood of two projects about the same thing that were going to come out at roughly the same time. Yep. So in this case, Disney won out, and the other one, this one, I guess lost its funding or something, or the release date, something went wrong, and so it pretty much debuted on Netflix bought it. Yes, and that's how they distributed it. And I'm not sure the course of events that led to that, but yeah, it was initially a Warner Brothers film planned for theatrical release, and then something happened. Yeah. Still not clear on what exactly happened. This is directed by Andy Serkis. If you don't know who he is by name, he is the guy who's responsible for motion capture being a respected and valuable part of film today. Andy Serkis started this one, Lord of the Rings, with Gollum. Yep. He went on to do it again as King Kong in King Kong with Peter Jackson again, and then most notably recently as Caesar in the Planet of the Apes trilogy. Yes. He's also just a good actor, even without, absolutely, without the motion capture, but he's phenomenal with motion capture and nuance, especially obviously playing animals. Yeah. He seems especially qualified for it. He's a guy, he's cornered the market on 100%. And to the point where people consult with him when they do motion capture. Mm-hmm. So, he directed this film, and the big difference between this and the Disney one is that Disney was remaking their own animated film as live action. Andy Serkis, the reason Andy Serkis was able to do this is because he was doing a live action adaptation of the book, of Rudyard Kipling's book, The Jungle Book. Yeah. So, and the book is a little bit darker than the movies are. So for sure. Naturally, this one is a little bit more grim than the Disney version, even the live action one, which is a little more grim than the animated, and the one from the 60s. But this one, This film, let's see, the voices are Christian Bale as Bagheera, Cate Blanchett as Kaa, Benedict Cumberbatch as Shere Khan, Naomi Harris as Nisha, that's his mom's name, Andy Serkis himself as Baloo, Peter Mullen as Aquila, who else is never mind, sorry, that's the wrong person. And featuring, I think the first film of for Rohan Chand as Mowgli.
Yes. And one of the first films as well for Andy Serkis's son, Lewis.
Who would Lewis play?
He was Boot.
Oh, Boot was so cute.
He was, wasn't he?
Is or what?
Yes.
So, okay. So, Dustin, did you? I'll say this. I'm glad that this was on Netflix. It was just I would never have gone to the theaters to see this.
Me neither.
Just because of money and stuff. But I saw basically this film. I saw the trailer and it doesn't look much different than the Disney one if you watch the trailer.
Right.
So watching this, I'm curious to know, did you like this more than the Disney Jungle Book? Because I forgot what your thoughts were on the Disney Jungle Book.
I liked this less than the Disney version, but there are elements that I liked more. For instance, I liked Rohan Chand.
Exactly what I think.
I liked Rohan more than the young boy that played Mowgli in the Disney version.
Better here, yep.
Yeah, for sure. A really great performance here. But all in all, I mean, I have to give the upper hand to the Disney version, and that may just be partially because of budget. The animated characters looked better in the Disney version. And then it may also be due to the voice cast. You've got a good cast here. Christian Bale's great.
He's unrecognizable as Bagheera.
Yeah. But and I do like Cate Blanchett as Kaa. But
did you get a Lord of the Rings vibe?
I did 100%. That opening scene is totally Lord of the Rings.
I've seen the world change.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, Galadriel. Like I hear you.
I literally was thinking. It took me out of the movie immediately because I thought Andy Serkis said, when you gave that, I don't know whatever his New Zealand accent is, when you gave that monologue at the beginning of Lord of the Rings, could you do it again as a snake?
And she's like, well, I guess.
Sure. What do you pay me again?
Everything has changed.
Yeah.
I can feel it in the water.
I smell it on the man cub.
Right. But I do like Christian Bale better, and I do like Cate Blanchett better. But I like Bill Murray better as Baloo. I like Idris Elba better as Shere Khan. And at the end of the day, so there are elements from each that I enjoy, but I kind of have to give this. I kind of have to rate this a little low, and maybe around 2 stars. And it's not that I disliked the story. Obviously the story is fine. It's the execution that I disliked. I thought the animated characters looked like a video game. It was like they were emoting too much. They were over animated the way you might see in a video game where it's like, okay, well, our characters are kind of stiff, so let's have them move constantly. Right. So it was sort of that same way. So for that alone, that just continually took me out of the movie. I think like Shere Khan looked okay, and maybe the elephants looked fine.
I was not into Shere Khan's character design.
It was okay, but it was just I don't know.
Like he looked the least like a real animal to me, and they went out of their way to make these look a little more realistic. But this is clearly a choice by Andy Serkis. But Baloo has like a broken jaw.
There's a slack jaw going on.
Yeah, it's just like something gave him a good knock, and his mouth just isn't the same. It won't like close or line up straight. It's like if you get hit by a car on your bike, and your bike's like bent like 90 degrees, and you could still ride it. Like,
right.
You might want to get a new bike. Like, no, totally. Okay, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah. It's fine, Bagheera.
Yeah. It's fine, Bagheera.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, any adaptation of the Jungle Book is baseline okay, right? Because it's a good story.
It's a simple little story.
Yeah, it's a simple little story, and colorful characters, and fun little vignettes right throughout the jungle. But again, it's just the execution that drags this down, because with the exception of of Mowgli, Bagheera, and Kaa, I thought everything was kind of lacking. And I've never read the original book, but I gotta say I do prefer the lazy bum Baloo over the drill sergeant Baloo. Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a couple things in here that I could nitpick. Like, I'm not sure exactly how much time passed in the Man Village. I'm not sure how long Mowgli, what sort of time frame we're talking about in this. Is this like all happening in a week? Is this all happening in like 9 months, like a year? Like, there's very little to give me that answer. And then some of it with some of the human characters in the film, I think, bothered me a little bit. And that may again just be because I'm used to the Disney versions where you don't see the Man Village until the end.
Right.
But yeah, some of that bothered me, but yeah, it's weird. I think I just have to give it 2 stars and say again, I think I said this in the review for the Jon Favreau Jungle Book 2. The Jungle Book, in my mind, again, never read the book, but in my mind was done perfectly in the 60s as an animated film. So why go back to it? Why keep trying? And there's a part of me that no matter how good the film is, if it doesn't have bare necessities, I'm going to miss it. And if it doesn't have, I want to be like you, I'm going to miss it. And like, that's part of it. Like, King Louie's not in the movie because he was created for the Disney version.
Right.
He's not in the book. So there are things that are missing that I miss. And yeah, but you know what? 2 stars. But it didn't make me angry. It just kind of made me disappointed.
Yeah, they had potential.
Yeah.
Like, when I heard Benedict Cumberbatch was going to be Shere Khan, I was really excited. And he just went a different direction with the voice. He just made Shere Khan a lot more like manic, and he does this weird thing wherever he says man cub, where he like growls his words. He's just like, man cub, I will taste your blood. It was just...
There's a couple times that I did like the sound design behind that, though, because you can kind of hear like an actual tiger roar.
Yeah, they did
rolling behind Benedict.
Yeah, they did something to like make his chest sound.
Yeah,
I don't know, kind of like you sound if you have a cold. It has like an extra vibration behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I did appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I like I said, I didn't like the character design of Shere Khan. I was let down by the voice work by Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
But
that's going to be the case for another movie on our list tonight.
Oh dear, teasing. But yeah, I put around probably about 2.5, 3 stars for me, because it's entertaining to watch, but it all depends on what you want to say. If you want, I prefer the character arc of Mowgli where he dispatches. I like Mowgli killing Shere Khan.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a spoiler. It's in the book. Mowgli stabs Shere Khan to death.
It's an old book.
So, yeah, like, I like Mowgli killing Shere Khan instead of just running him off. Shere Khan would never quit just by the fire on his tail.
Right.
He would eventually untie it would end, and he'd come back.
Right.
So I like Mowgli killing Shere Khan, but yeah, I agree. Like, the Man Village shouldn't enter the picture probably till the end of the movie when he's ready to move on to it. Instead, they wanted to make like an something to do, like, a forced, like a, imperialist man conquesting man sort of statement, which is, whatever.
Sure.
Is fine, but I just overall, was disappointed. And that's all I can really say for this. I had a couple other things I'd forgotten. So anyway, Mowgli is on Netflix. You can watch it full free. And it's definitely worth a free watch for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Cool. There's Mowgli. All right, let's move on to theater new releases.
Let's do it.
Theater. Dustin, you saw Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and so did lots of other people.
Yes.
Are you joining them in their exuberance for this film?
Yes. Although I will say there's a lot of hyperbole being thrown around about this movie, you know, the best Spider-Man movie ever made, the best superhero movie ever made. Some people saying this is the best animated movie ever made. Okay. These are really high bars. And I don't know that I'd go that far on any of those accounts. But it is very good. And I would say probably it is top 3 Spider-Man movies for sure. Maybe top 2, but definitely top 3. What
do you like better, Spider-Man 2 and what?
Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the first 2 Raimi movies better than this. And then Homecoming's probably 4th. I don't know. I'm going to alienate a lot of people when I say I really don't mind Spider-Man 3. So
I don't mind it either.
Anyway, but definitely the Garfield movies are last for sure. The Garfield movies are always last.
I thought you meant the Garfield films.
A Tale of Two Kitties is the worst Spider-Man movie I've ever seen.
Speaking of Bill Murray voice work for the 3rd time tonight.
Right, exactly. So let me recap Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse very quickly.
Okay.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse does not star Peter Parker. No. It stars Miles Morales, who's a young teenager in New York who is also bitten by a radioactive spider. But Miles lives in a world where Spider-Man exists. The Peter Parker Spider-Man is real and a thing. And he stumbles on a plot by Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, as he's opening a breach in the space-time continuum. Oh. And as the breach opens, it opens up the world to new threats. And in the shebang that happens there, some new Spider-Mans come to this world, and the actual Spider-Man, Peter Parker of that world, dies. So now the only Spider-Man that's appropriate for this universe is Miles, and the other Spider people are now here to teach Miles how to be a Spider-Man, or a Spider person, to be inclusive. And so what you have is an older version of Peter Parker coming in through the breach. This Peter Parker is most likely in his 30s, somewhere around there.
Age. He's like
yeah. And so he has been Spider-Man for quite a while. He is divorced from Mary Jane Watson and kind of out of shape and out of practice. Imagine like Mr. Incredible from the beginning of The Incredibles. That's what he kind of is. But he's not like
worn out.
Yeah, he's worn out, but he's not like a frustrated he's not frustrated like Mr. Incredible was. He's more like just a lazy bum. He's Baloo.
Sure.
And so he's like, I'm not really interested in teaching you how to be Spider-Man, whatever. And over the course of the movie, Peter and Miles form a really great kind of relationship, and it's really fun to watch. So anything else I say is going to get into spoilers. So let that just be it. All you got to know: Miles Morales bitten by spider. More spider people come in. There you go. That's the plot, basically. The film was written by Phil Lord, Christopher Miller. And so it's got their brand of comedy in it, which is super crowd pleasing. We know that. Lord of the Rings. What am I saying? Lego Movie, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Can you imagine a Phil Lord and Christopher Miller Lord of the Rings, though? Because that would be amazing. Now. That would be great. Let's do that.
Oh, man.
Get him on the phone, Hooper.
Call him.
Lord Miller, I got a job for you.
We've got a little bit of a HooperCast budget now, so we could probably throw some money at them finally.
Yeah, there you go. We got $2.45 for you.
Total, not each.
Right. And so Yeah, it's got their sensibility to it. It's really funny. The animation style, it might take a little bit to get it used to for some people. I've heard some people say like, this looks awful. And I'm like, but that's what they're going for. They're going for like a live action, or not a live action. They're going for like a realized comic book look.
Yeah.
So everything kind of moves like you might expect a comic book to move.
It pops.
It's not super smooth and fluid and Disney squash and stretch. Like this is a little rougher, a little more edgy, and that I think really, really fits what's going on here. The voice work is all really, really good. You've got Shamik Moore as Miles Morales, Jake Johnson as Peter Parker, Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, Mahershala Ali. You've got Lily Tomlin in here, Zoe Kravitz, John Mulaney, Nicolas Cage, Liev Schreiber, Chris Pine. The list goes on. It's a really great cast. And the whole thing is really, really well done. I really don't have anything to nitpick. Like it's a solid movie. Miles has a great character arc that by the end of it, everything that happens feels 100% earned. Like this is a true hero's journey story. You get to know him as a character, know what he wants, see the obstacles, see him overcome the obstacles, watch him learn and grow and become a better person and affect the people around him and in positive ways. And that is a great story. It's a classic story, so whatever. But I think the movie has like a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think it has that for a reason. People really, really want to see a story where a character goes from insecure to super confident and super talented. And I think that that's always an inspiring thing. And there's really no better character than Spider-Man to inspire you to be better, to keep trying to better yourself, because it's really your responsibility to do what you have to do to protect the people that you love. And that point gets hammered home here. The great power with great responsibility is not like overly used, but its presence is always felt. Peter in this film really learns how to be a better hero, and everybody kind of learns something that I think is great for kids, and this may be better for maybe like young teenagers, this movie. But this is a great movie for kids to latch onto, because kids need to know that you can grow and you can be better, and there's nothing wrong with a little bit of fear. And I think that a little bit of that message goes a long way. So while I'm not going to say it's the best anything, I will say it is one of the best of just about every category. I have heard people say it's the best movie of the year. Again, I don't know if I'd go that far. I haven't ranked them, but it's got to be close to the top. It is a great flick, and if you can get out and see it, please get out and see it. It is definitely worth seeing with an audience. There are surprises in store. That's always great to hear gasps and reactions, and it's always great to hear the laughter. So with these Lord Miller movies, there's plenty of laughter, and you know what? This is just a fun time at the movies. So if you get a chance to see Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, do. And if you have to pay full price, because it's a great movie. I'm gonna give it, I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars, because 5 seems crazy, but I'm gonna give it 4.5. I enjoyed the heck out of this. It is a great movie, and I know they're already working on a sequel, so fingers crossed. We're well on the way for a Into the Spider-Verse franchise, and I'm on board.
There we go. Well, and it's good for Sony to at least have put out something with Spider-Man that actually like is fun and
And the timing of it is perfect because I think everybody's in a Spider-Man mood right now after the PS4 game, which was great.
Yeah. Yep.
And everything that happened to Peter in Infinity War. I think people are really in a Spider-Man mood at the moment. And so it really couldn't have come at a better time.
And I know that Disney is hoping that this kind of carries over to the summer for Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yep, totally.
Well, I'm certainly interested in seeing this. So as soon as I can get my hands on this movie, I'll be watching it because I love Spider-Man and he's just fun and earnest and good and one of the most inspirational characters in storytelling. Period.
Yes, totally.
For any regular Bible readers out there, Spider-Man is basically Job.
Yeah,
he just constantly gets knocked down repeatedly and never wavers in his commitments.
Well, and with great power comes great responsibility is a biblical concept. There's a verse that says, "To whom much is given, much is expected." It's that same thing. It's and that's what I respond most to. In terms of Spider-Man is the weight of responsibility, because look, we're not going to sugarcoat it. Responsibility is a weight. You will feel it. But at the end of the day, responsibility is good and it motivates you because it can either motivate you or destroy you. And Spider-Man is a great example of let's let it motivate us, not destroy us. Yeah.
All right, that is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's in theaters now. You can go see it, and it is #1 at the box office currently. Yes, it is. All right, in theaters this coming weekend.
Yeah,
and unless you got early screeners like Dustin here has, is Aquaman.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the main event. There's a lot riding on this movie. DC's slate of films is generally below average, but there was a lot of hope for Jason Momoa as this character, James Wan being the director, and the first extended trailer looked really good. This, I don't know if this has on Rotten Tomatoes, but
I think it's somewhere
in the 80s, I think. Like
well, I think it's down to like maybe 78. Okay. 79, something like that. I can't remember.
Okay. What'd you think, Dustin? How'd you see this so early?
So strangely enough, Amazon Prime did a Prime members only screening.
What?
Yeah, I was literally on Atom one day, which is a really cool app. And if you're not using Atom for your movie tickets, do. And Adam was like, "Hey, do you want to see Aquaman in your area a week early?" And I was like, I would. How can I do this? And it said, "Are you a Prime member?" And I was like, "I am." And it was like, "Cool, buy a ticket then." And I'm like, "You got it." Yes, sir.
So where did you physically watch it? On Prime?
No, I went to the theater.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just giving all Amazon Prime members like a 2-day window to stream the movie.
No, that would be dope though.
I was like, it
would be impossible. Right, but it'd be impossible not to pirate it, like somebody's going to...
How are they going to control that?
Right.
Good. Okay, that makes me feel better that I could not have seen it early.
Yes.
Once again, living in Atlanta provides Dustin these opportunities that I just cannot have.
Yes.
You want to know what screens early in Mobile?
What screens early in Mobile?
Hurricanes.
Oh, that hits close to home. All right, Aquaman. You are right. There's a lot riding on this film.
Yeah.
This has to be a hit. Mm-hmm. This has to do some mad business.
Yep.
So, what do I think about it? That's a complicated question. The baseline that I would say is it is as good. It is on par with some of the early Marvel movies. And I mean that as a compliment, not as a slight to Marvel. Right. I mean as a compliment to Aquaman. Yeah. Because some of those early Marvel movies, like the first Avenger, Thor, Iron Man, like these are good movies. Those are solid movies. Yeah. Now they're strictly pretty much focused on the one character. Yep. And they don't have much in terms of overall world building.
This is they were shared universe, and these ensemble big name casts were a norm or and or feasible.
Or expected. Yeah. Yep. Right. It was, it was still very much an experiment at that point. Yep. And the movies had to work on their own. And so Aquaman feels that way to me. There are literally zero setups in this film. So do not expect a hint to Justice League 2 or Man of Steel 3, 17, whatever. Don't expect anything happening.
There's two ways to analyze that, to interpret that. One is, that was a choice. Yeah. The other was, because no one's cast because everyone's leaving.
Right. No, I
references they could make.
Right. I think that was a choice from James Wan. Yeah. Because I have heard that Shazam may feature some cameos. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what I've heard. Sure. Aquaman steers clear of all of that, and I think very wisely. There was a lot of bad baggage that comes with referencing things and talking about things that are sucky. So really they only mention the Justice League literally in passing. It's like enough to let you know this takes place after, but so little that if you blink, you miss it. Okay. And so you can really view this as like the start of the cinematic universe if you wanted to. There's nothing that would stop you from just seeing this movie alone.
I would prefer that.
Well, yes, correct. So let me give you the rundown really quick. So the film stars Jason Momoa as Arthur Curry. Arthur Curry is the daughter. Gosh, what is wrong with me?
He's got that luscious long hair. I know you were confused.
It's true. Justin. It's true. So Arthur Curry is the son of an Atlantean and a land dweller. So a lighthouse keeper, to be exact. So he is sort of two worlds. He feels torn, but kind of operates as Aquaman just when he wants to, as he feels like it's necessary. Like, there's some pirates over here. I happen to be close. I'll go take care of it. But he feels no responsibility to actually do anything moral or at all heroic. Yeah. And so the film really starts in an interesting way. They give you the Aquaman that you might have, that feels similar to Justice League. He's this kind of like bro-ish, like, yeah, this is cool kind of a guy. Yeah. Oh yeah. My man. Right. And then something happens that forces that character to go on a journey. Yeah. And so by the end of the film, this character is really, I think, the character that James Wan wanted to tell a story about, right? Like, this is a different Aquaman than we have had thus far, which is great. But regardless, let me get back to my setup here, right? So, son of two worlds, blah, blah, blah. As it turns out, he has a half brother who sits on the throne of Atlantis and is attempting to destroy the land by mounting an army of Atlanteans and other undersea things to fight the land dwellers. And so it's up to Amber Heard to convince Jason Momoa to take his rightful place on the throne, right? It is shades of Black Panther, it's shades of Thor, it's shades of Lion King, it's shades of everything. Right. It's Shakespearean even, but it doesn't quite reach those heights. but it also doesn't feel so much like a copy that is unenjoyable. It does feel new and fresh and interesting, which is great, because the last thing you want is for it to feel like a copy of Black Panther. Like, oh, that was big, let's do that.
Right.
So yeah, look, at the end of the day, I had fun with Aquaman, and it's nothing that is life changing or groundbreaking, but it is a lot of fun. It has a solid story. I think if anything, they do a little too much. They put too much story in this, and they could kind of truncate it down, because it's 2.5 hours, this movie, or 220. They could cut out a little bit of that and really kind of truncate the story a little bit, because there's a lot going on here, and some of the best parts, like for me, the best part, honestly, was Black Manta is one of Aquaman's biggest villains. Mm-hmm. He's in the film. Don't expect a lot of him, but he's in there, and there are things like that kind of feel a little detourish. I don't mind it, because Black Manta is cool. Black Panther. But here's the deal. Aquaman is a lot of fun. I think if you have a chance to see it in a theater with an audience, it's worth it. I think probably try to see a matinee if you can. Try to, use like your free Regal ticket or whatever, or a gift card or something to see this. It's not bad, and it's not frustrating. It's not crazy, whatever. But the reason I'm not like fully endorsing this is because it's gonna do one of two things. I think it's really gonna polarize the audience. It's either going to make you go, you know what, it's silly and I can deal, I'm on board, or you're gonna say it's silly and I hate it, I can't do this. And it's gonna be one of the two things, because it kind of feels like a Saturday morning cartoon or like an episode of Dragon Ball Z, but not like in a bad way, but in a way where it's like a lot of like dudes with pecs yelling at each other. And so it's a lot of like, Atlantis, we must stop him. And then, oh, you're not going to stop me. And it's a lot of that. And it's either going to make you go, yeah, this is bad.
I will
and
let you destroy my world.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly what's happening. And is like, I should be on the throne, and like that's what Aquaman is. And so it's going to do one of those two things. Me, I could deal with the silliness. I could deal with the goofiness. I don't mind a good Saturday morning cartoon. So I dug it. My wife hated every second of this movie. So it really is going to test you. So I'm not going to throw my full endorsement behind it and say, go see this at full price, because you may very well not like this. But just be aware when you go in. This movie is not super deep. This is not going to get philosophical on you.
It's a pun.
But it's fun. And there's a lot of goofy junk in this, but if you can kind of swallow the cotton candy, you're fine. At its heart, Aquaman is a goofy thing anyway. So if they had given me like a super let's take ourselves seriously movie, it would not ring true. And I think James Wan knew that. And so he gave us a movie that knew what it was and lives in that space. Okay, he wears bright orange. Cool. Let's let him do it. Yeah. Oh, his villain looks like a frog Darth Vader. Cool. Let's let him look like that. And that's admirable. Like, we know what we are. Let's be what we are. If you don't like it, fine. Right. But at least we're not trying to make ourselves seem more important. And that's one of the things that Zack Snyder failed, is he tried to make those movies too important. They didn't understand what they were. The Marvel movies, they can say some deep things, but at its heart, Kevin Feige knows this is a movie about a billionaire that wears a fancy suit and a high school student that shoots webs from his wrist. Like, it's dumb, but it doesn't mean it can't say something smart.
Yes, correct.
And so Aquaman may not say anything super brilliant, but at least it's fun and it knows that it's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And so that's sort of the best I can say. As far as a star rating, I'm going to give this, I'm going to give it 3.5 because 4 feels too generous, but really probably I will watch this again and I'll probably watch it several times because, like I said, I liked Thor, I liked Iron Man, I liked Captain America, and this is at least on par with those. It's better than like Iron Man 2 or Thor 2. So there's some, like it's good. So 3.5, 4, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see it, especially with the mixed reactions. I'm curious where I would fall.
Yeah, I feel like, I know that you don't mind a good Saturday morning cartoon and you don't mind a good episode of DBZ. So I feel like you, if you can get behind the silliness of it and if you can understand, like, even Jason Momoa knows, like, this is goofy.
Yeah. It's over the top.
But let's have fun. Yeah. Like, let's just, call the kettle black and have fun. So, yeah.
Aquaman is in theaters this weekend, so if that sounds good to you, get on out there and see it.
Yeah.
All right. Last film of the night.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to talk about The Grinch.
Let's do it.
Universal film directed by Yarrow Chaney and Scott Mosier. I don't know who they are. Written by a couple other dudes I don't know. Starring the voice of Benedict Cumberbatch as the Grinch. And other people as other characters. And Pharrell Williams is the narrator?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll talk about that too. Okay. So I'm going to try to be brief here because there's not a lot to say about The Grinch. I don't need to recap what The Grinch is about. You know what The Grinch is about. If you don't know what The Grinch is about, then just, like, who are you?
Stop.
And that's not a pun. The Grinch. The Grinch stars, like you said, Benedict Cumberbatch plays the Grinch. Rashida Jones is Cindy Lou Who's mother. Pharrell Williams is the narrator. You got a couple other voices in here like Kenan Thompson. But by and large,
where did you find time in his schedule to do this?
Right, to play Mr. Bricklebaum, made up for the film. So here's the baseline for the Grinch. The Grinch is not necessary, but not bad. It's not insulting. So if you miss it, okay, fine. But if you go see it, cool. Like, you'll have a good time.
Yeah.
They have to pad the runtime a little bit. So if you compare this to like Jim Carrey's Grinch, right? They give the Grinch a lot of backstory. You get to know him as like a child and he's like really creepy and whatever. And then like they try to tell you like the reason he hates Christmas is because he gave that girl a gift and like everyone made fun of him on Christmas. And he's like, I hate Christmas now. The motivation here, I think, works a lot better than that. And it gets about 60 seconds of screen time. But they pad the runtime by giving Cindy Lou more to do. And they pad the runtime by showing the Grinch plan the heist, which is something that generally gets skipped or reduced down to the "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch" montage.
Right.
You get more here of him being like, all right, let's do some reconnaissance. Like, let's figure out how many houses are there.
Yeah.
What do we have to do? And that kind of thing. Like, it's the Grinch tinkering in his workshop with, like, let's create a gadget to collect all of the lights or whatever. So you get more of that. And that's not a bad thing. And it doesn't destroy the integrity of the story. There are a few things that this leaves out, like iconic lines or moments that you might be expecting. And sometimes I miss them. And sometimes I'm okay with them. So it's a mixed bag in that regard. I think my main frustration comes from the Grinch himself and some of the things around him. So you've got your more sinister Grinch with the Boris Karloff animated short. You've got your more goofy Grinch with Jim Carrey. Benedict Cumberbatch threads the needle between the two, and in fact, most often just kind of flip flops between the two. And so you never get like he never stands out or becomes his own. He's just like, okay, I'm kind of wicked in this scene, and in this scene I'm like goofy. And he'll deliver a line exactly like Jim Carrey. And then he'll deliver a line exactly like Boris Karloff, to the point where he's not doing anything unique. So I was hoping that we were going to get kind of like a villainous Grinch here, like that we would really paint him as a evil jerk. And they don't do that here. He's kind of a cute, like
harmless.
Yeah, harmless, whatever. Like, I'm a jerk because I ate a pickle, but I spit the pickle back in the jar and put the jar in somebody's shopping cart. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but that's not really evil. Yeah. But the Jim Carrey Grinch was the same. Like, I'm going to mix up the mail in the mailroom, and it's like, okay. I'm not saying I want like a Grinch who's like murdering folks, but like I'm going to scalp you, Cindy Lou.
If Andy Serkis had directed this, the Grinch would be eating dogs.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Chupacabra. Right. Just like my cat, like, it's a beautiful It's just like the dog is ripped in half. Like, where's the rest of my body?
Bells. The machete head off. Like,
and then in the background you just hear,
right.
And then someone goes, "Is that Tom Waits?" No, I think that was the Grinch.
Right. Yeah, look, so my frustration comes from the voice performance of Benedict Cumberbatch, but maybe a lot of that's the way he's written, the characterization of him, and that's fine. Yeah, and then I have to also give a negative to Pharrell Williams. Pharrell is not a dramatic actor, and I feel like that narration requires a little bit of drama. Oh yeah, a little bit of heft to it.
We're going from Sir Anthony Hopkins to Pharrell Williams.
Right, exactly, and you're kind of like in your mind's eye saying, okay, this is maybe Dr. Seuss reading this to me, or like your narrator is like giving you your Seussian vibe. Yeah. And so you have, the lines in here, like it could be perhaps that his shoes are too tight, or whatever. Yeah. And with Anthony Hopkins, that line doesn't sound like goofy. It sounds like
he would say it.
Yeah.
Like he would just say it.
Pharrell just makes everything sound too loose, like too casual, like I'm just a hip dad reading a book to my kids.
Yeah, it's like he went to like a local school and he's in a classroom reading the book, like
right.
I don't know, when the president was reading that book to those kids on 9/11 or whatever it was, like just sit in the classroom, read a book. Yes,
and so. I wish there was a different narrator, and I wish that there was a different Grinch. Like a Jeremy Irons Grinch would be great, right? Like somebody with a little bit of like gravity to him. Mm-hmm. And that way, when his heart finally grows, like you feel it, right? Mm-hmm. Because whatever. But the other thing is like the soundtrack really bothers me. They wanted to do a few things different, and I got to give them some points for that. But like I said, and sometimes like you really miss it, right? So the montage where he's, with this cat, whatever. Gosh, I'm dead tonight. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick, right? Like that, and then he goes, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch," and he's doing the thing. Well, in this, it just like goes into some like techno beats or whatever. Oh, and it's like you missed it because "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch" opened the movie. Like that was the first thing you hear. It's like, oh, high above the Who town, you have the Who's doing their Who stuff. And Pharrell's doing that, so it didn't even sound that epic. And then it's like a hip hop version by Tyler, the Creator, of "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch," which is really just like very lazily saying the words. Like, "You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel." And there's like some beats behind him, and it's like Look, there are just some movies that hip hop doesn't belong in.
Yeah,
this is one of them.
This Mayberry-esque town. You're gonna have Tyler the Creator, who uses the term heel. He would not be first on the list of people I would can picture saying that line with seriousness.
Well, for me, it's just like it's a really kitschy kids town. Like the music should be really kitschy and like almost like played on a xylophone would be more appropriate.
Yeah.
Like really like a kazoo or something.
Where are the Wiggles when you need them?
Right. The Teletubbies up in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, at the end of the day, like I said, the movie's not necessary because it doesn't distinguish itself enough to be like an original thing. But you're not going to have a bad time. Like, it's not going to make you mad. It's not going to feel like, the character arcs aren't well done here, because they are. They're as well done as they ever have been.
Yeah.
Whatever, you're not going to get anything like Shakespearean from this, but you're going to get like a good story about a guy who's a jerk and becomes a nice guy because of people's kindness. And that's it's a good story. So it's not a waste of time. And if you're looking for something to do this Christmas, I say go see this. It's a good movie to see with your family and with kids. But at the end of the day, the movie itself doesn't distinguish itself enough to be important.
It's one of those things, it just screams money grab because it doesn't have to be made in the first place. It's got inherent brand recognition. It's accessible to families. It's seasonally appropriate. And they made just enough care with the story and the characters and the overall tone to ensure that people will come and spend money on it and not hate it, but no more than that, to where people might actually love it or anything that might challenge the structure or the whatever established formula of this story. Nothing creatively was done here. It was just, okay, we're gonna make a Grinch movie, so let's make sure it has broad appeal. And that's
right. Which at the end of the day, if they had changed it a lot, like I'd be criticizing that too. Sure. So it's moments like that where you're like, well, isn't that a catch-22? Aren't you talking out both sides of your mouth? And it's like, well, then just don't do the movie. If you can't win either way, then just don't make the movie.
I mean, the goal is to make a great movie that has broad appeal.
Yes.
Great movie, meaning there's actually something extra special about it, whether it's the casting, and I say action set pieces again, just to mean like, are there moments that you're going to remember in this film? Yeah. So like, but if you're going to make a movie that's just meant to make money, I'm going to criticize you if you do just enough to make lots of money. Yeah. And if you change a bunch of stuff and don't make a lot of money, I'm going to tell you that I'm not going to recommend that anyone watch your movie, but I will give you props for trying to do something different. However, no one liked it. So, But if you can do both, take a risk, it pays off to a great film with broad appeal. You make lots of money, like the Marvel films. Yeah. Then you see something that's great and broad appeal. Star Wars, broad appeal, not great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
The Grinch, 100%. Broad appeal, not great. Just fine. It's good enough.
Yeah, it's fine. Like you'll like it, but you won't love it, and you won't like. I don't know. I guess Christmas is such a weird time because the bar is really low for Christmas movies. Like you could find something that's like awful and be like, that's our new tradition. Like that's a tradition. We're doing it every year. And the bar is like so low. You're like, yeah, but the Santa Claus is actually kind of a bad movie. But then you're like, yeah, but I have to watch it every year. And so, it's one of those things. The bar is already really low. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, did I give it a star rating? I don't think I did.
No, it sounds like a 3.
Yeah, I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay.
It's fine. It won't aggravate you, but it's not, like I said, it's just not doing anything that's clever or unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds about right. Well, make lots of money.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tons.
So good for them. Good enough.
Yep.
Great. All right. Well, that's it. We did it, Dustin.
Yeah.
That's a packed episode.
Yeah, it was.
We are not doing the movie hour for, I think, the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're going to be on a little bit of a hiatus. I might pop in and do some episodes here and there at my convenience.
Yep.
Yes, at my convenience. But we're taking a holiday hiatus, going to spend some time traveling, getting work done, and spending time with family. So what you can bet on is Dustin and I will see plenty of movies or TV shows during that time, and we'll have a lot to talk about when we come back in January. So stick around with our show, obviously, if you like the other episodes we do. But if you are purely a fan of Dustin or Dustin and me, but definitely Dustin, then just sort of hang on until January. We will be back. Again, YouTube, iTunes, and again, HooperCast.com. So I swear to God, don't buy that URL or I'll have you killed.
Right.
I'm not joking. I'll do it. I'll be so angry.
Wait, you might want to cut that part out.
I will have you found. I will have you found, and then the rest is up to me. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for listening, and get out there, see some good movies this weekend.
Yeah.
We just mentioned plenty.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.